Good evening, my fellow creatures of the night. I am Lilith Fury, the Eldritch Queen of Horror, and tonight we're delving into a tale as old as terror itself, the legend of the Wolfman. With the new Wolfman movie soon to be released, I thought it only fitting to pay homage to this enduring monster and its fascinating history across film and folklore. We'll explore the original Wolfman, its many iterations, and how the Wolfman has remained a haunting figure in cinema and storytelling. Now, although the premiere in Los Angeles was canceled, I was lucky enough to have seen a sneak peek of the film a while back. And let me tell you, this movie is a love letter to fans of the original classic and an exciting new chapter for this legendary monster. I'll share my full thoughts later in this episode, so stay tuned. It all began in 1941 with Universal Pictures' The Wolfman, directed by George Wagner and starring Lon Chaney Jr. as Lawrence Talbot, the ill-fated protagonist. This film cemented the werewolf as a cornerstone of horror and introduced many of the iconic tropes we associate with lycanthropy today, like the full moon, silver bullet, and the tragic curse of the bitten man. Talbot's journey is not only terrifying, but also deeply tragic. He's not just a monster, he's a victim of fate, a man tormented by the knowledge that he's doomed to harm the ones he loves. The makeup, designed by legendary Jack Pierce, brought the Wolfman to life in a way that had never been seen before. His work would influence countless iterations of the werewolf in cinema, and Chaney Jr.'s sympathetic performance ensured that audiences would both feel fear and pity for the creature. The Wolfman wasn't just a horror story. It was also a tale of identity, humanity, and loss, themes that would resonate through future werewolf films. Since the release of the original Wolfman, the werewolf has stalked through decades of cinema, evolving with the times. Universal continued the story of Larry Talbot in films like Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, and House of Dracula. Talbot became one of the few Universal monsters to receive a continuous storyline, solidifying his place in the horror pantheon. The 1980s brought a resurgence of werewolf films, with movies like An American Werewolf in London, The Howling, and Silver Bullet. That was my fave as a child. These films pushed the boundaries of special effects with groundbreaking transformation sequences that remain iconic to this day. While The Howling leaned into psychological horror and black humor, An American Werewolf in London blended horror and comedy in a way that hadn't been done before, offering both laughs and genuine frights. Of course, who could forget Teen Wolf, which took a more lighthearted approach to the werewolf mythos, transforming the curse into a metaphor for adolescence. It's a stark contrast to darker tones of films like Wolf, starring Jack Nicholson, which explored the beast within and primal instincts in a more adult context. My favorite werewolf film has to be Ginger Snaps. Such a brilliant story about two sisters, Bridget and Ginger, who share a love of horror and embrace their status as outsiders. Their bond feels raw and authentic, and the way the film weaves their relationship into a coming-of-age horror story was incredible. When Ginger is attacked and starts transforming, it's not just about becoming a werewolf. It's a metaphor for puberty and the transition into womanhood. The changes she undergoes with her first period, marking the onset of sexual maturity. From there, her newfound power and sexuality become both exhilarating and dangerous. The duality, how the monstrous can mirror real-life experiences, makes Ginger Snaps stand out. It was ahead of its time in showing how horror can be a lens for exploring themes like identity, societal expectations, and female empowerment. The film is also unapologetically dark, with sharp dialogue, a biting sense of humor, and practical effects that are gloriously gritty and visceral. It paved the way for other werewolf films to use transformation as a metaphor for personal or biological change, Wilding being a great example. Another werewolf film I thoroughly enjoyed was Cursed. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but let's be real. I don't have opinions, I have facts. And as the queen, my word is law. Cursed is an excellent werewolf movie. It's funny, violent, and pays homage to the classic lore, particularly the Wolfman during the fortune-telling scene. The film also doesn't take itself too seriously, balancing horror with moments of campy fun. But I'll stop there. I don't want to spoil anything. And now, let's talk about the newest Wolfman movie. This film absolutely stole my horror-loving heart, and I'm thrilled to say it's a stunning homage to the original. I absolutely loved the practical effects. It feels like there's been a resurgence in Hollywood of filmmakers returning to their practical roots. And this movie is a shining example of why that is so exciting. What stood out to me the most was how this Wolfman stayed true to the human hybridization the Lon Chaney Jr.'s original film depicted. So many modern werewolf films rush through the transformation, focusing instead on creating a giant wolf. It's like, okay, I get it's a werewolf, but I want to see a wolf man, the hybrid, the magical place in between. That is what made it so iconic. That imagery holds moments where the human and the beast exist simultaneously, and it made my little horror heart grow 10 times larger. Christopher Abbott's portrayal of Blake was phenomenal. You could feel every ounce of his hopelessness, fear, and anguish as his humanity was stripped away. And Julia Garner as Charlotte, a knockout performance, but let's be honest, Julia Garner always understands the assignment. The film also struck a perfect balance between horror and tragedy, refusing to sacrifice emotional depth for constant gore and mindless thrills, although there was plenty. It reminded me of the timeless beauty of classic monster movies. The new Wolfman releases January 17th, and I cannot recommend it enough to all lovers of classic horror and creatures of the night. Trust me, you'll want to race to the theater for this one. So whether it's the tragic story of Larry Talbot, the bloody rampages of modern werewolves, or the transformative power of metaphor, the werewolf has always been a compelling monster. Its power lies in its ability to reflect the struggles we face as humans, our inner conflicts, our primal instincts, and the fear of losing control. As always, I want to know your thoughts. What's your favorite werewolf movie and why? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, my spooky friends, I am Lilith Fury, your Eldritch Queen of Horror. Stay haunted.